Welcome to Jobbed Out, the wrestling editorial that reminds you that I had to watch the Big Show for this piece today, and because of that, you are all the heels this week.
Well, it's a big show.
Huge news this morning, rocking the Twitterverse. AEW not only announced a new Monday night YouTube series of AEW Dark called Elevation, something that I think they've needed not only because 16 matches is a lot to watch on a Tuesday YouTube show, but also because Dark is primarily just squash match central for contracted guys over tryout talents, and that they need a show for these newer dudes to get the rub too. Sorry, I'm rambling. Anyway, that's not the news of a giant nature, no. Actually, the big blockbuster here is that AEW announced a brand new signing. All petite wrestling no longer, AEW announced the Big Show is all elite. Paul Wight will be joining as both a commentator Taz style for AEW Dark Elevation, insert tall joke here, and as an in-ring performer. Wight had spent the last 22 years with the WWE after jumping ship from WCW, a fiercely loyal dude who did everything he could for the company for decades. He's a multiple-time world champion and probably the Guinness World Record holder for most face and heel turns in a career. Wight's last year with the WWE has not been the most encouraging. He technically main evented WrestleMania in that he challenged the newly crowned champ to a match that didn't air until afterwards. He got a Full House-style Netflix sitcom that was both greenlit and cancelled, for good reason. And he generally was just made to look a fool at the hands of Randy Orton while, just standing there. Imagine getting paid to just stand there. It's the dream, I tell ya. Anyway, things finally came to an end last month when the WWE and Big Show couldn't come to a financial agreement to a new contract. Now, we've seen a fair bit of this before with talent crossing the borders. Tony Khan seems to promise two things to the established guys who've given up on their passion in the WWE. You'll get money because you're a draw, and you'll get airtime because you're unhappy with not being used. Now, who's gonna hate on that? Guaranteed cash and a chance to stick it to the guys who decided you weren't worth it anymore? Good for him. With that said, I don't want to see Big Show lumber around the ring every week while Darby Allin bounces off of him for 10 minutes. But AEW does have this thing about using their legends to their strengths instead of their weaknesses. We've seen Jake Roberts land, one pro wrestling move in the last year since he's been there? Taz mostly just talks. Tully and Sting are planning to perform, but it's a safe bet they're going to be protected while the younger guys do the bulk of the work. I can expect Wight will only get physical once in a while to pop a rating, like when Shaq's in the room. Finally, there's the matter of his name. Paul Wight has had only two names in the ring other than his actual name. He was the Giant in WCW, and he was the Big Show in WWE. Both of which McMahon and company own the trademarks to. I thought the Netflix series was going to be a sign that he's acquired the rights to use the name, but it turns out that garbage pile was actually a WWE Studios production. Ugh. Anyway, I don't see any reason why he can't just be Giant Paul Wight. Kind of like how the Rhodes family had to use Cody and Brandy Rhodes since Cody couldn't use the Rhodes name for years. Doesn't matter though. If you see the Big Show on TV, you know who he is. Now, will it move the needle? Maybe once. AEW is a show for diehards though, while WWE has spent decades trying to bring in the casual fans. Diehards have been pretty harsh to Paul Wight over the years. He's right on that edge of full-on X-Pac heat. But this could actually save him if he's used right, and more importantly, used sparingly. So that's it. That's literally the biggest name to jump ship between these companies, and I want to ask you, what do you think? Is Big Show leaving the WWE for AEW a great thing for the company? Great for Paul Wight? Or does it impact you at all? Who would you like to see Paul Wight take on, and please say Orange Cassidy? Or do you want him to stick to commentary at most? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more, because I want you to be a part of the conversation too. For now though, I better get my shoulders off the mat, so I want to thank you for tuning in to Jobbed Out. I'll catch you next time.